When I looked at the business, I was at home with 2 small children, and the idea of working flexibly around a growing family was obviously very appealing. And I could see straight away how I could earn the £200 or £300 that I was so desperate to have in my hands. But what really excited me was the thought that I just might be able to create a real lifestyle for me and my family, to be able to live in a great house, to be able to drive the car I wanted to drive, to be debt-free, and to have financial security for the future, and to have fantastic trips, fantastic holidays to create those memories. Could it be possible? Well, I'll tell you a bit more about that later. I came into the business towards the end of 1999, and at that time, I was a brand new person, just like many of you in this room today. In fact, could we have the lights up? I'd love to see who's new in the room today. Perhaps you've been in the business 3 months or less. Hands nice and high. Oh my goodness. All right. All right. There are lots and lots of you here. That's brilliant. Well, you may not know it yet, but you are definitely in the right place at the right time. And I'm going to be talking to you today because just as mine did, your sponsor has probably asked you or will be asking you to create a list. Is that right? And whilst it's quite a simple task to do, it actually can feel very difficult for a few reasons. Has anyone thought, well, what's the point of that? I'm here to earn a 6-figure income. I'm not going to sit about writing names down. Anyone? Yeah. Or what about, well, yeah, obviously this is a great business, but I'm definitely not going to speak to anyone I know about it. Anyone? Quite common. Or as I did, you do produce a list of about 20 or so names, which clearly isn't a who do I know list, is it? More of a who I think will be interested list. And that was me. And, I felt quite scared, and I remember thinking, yeah, but I don't know anybody. My list was actually the grand total of 27 names. If you're thinking any of those things, I think now is the time to change that, because within this free database that you have at your fingertips, not only are new team members, people who are waiting for an opportunity just like this, but also valuable retail customers. And what about for those people who say no? They're a valuable source of referrals. Here's a great phrase, write this down. Good people know good people. This is for when people say no to you. Obviously, you want to thank them for taking a look and tell them why you wanted to show them, but obviously good people know good people. Maybe they know someone who would like to hear about this opportunity. This is why we must contact everybody we know and invite them to get a brief overview of what we do to see if they're interested in the business, the product, or if neither, who they know who would be. I believe that your soaring manager business, your 6-figure income and beyond is in your who do I know list. So that will only happen if you take the time to write an extensive list. Do you know, by the time we're 21, we've actually come into contact with thousands and thousands of people. So do you think it's possible with a little bit of help, you can unlock those names from up here? Yeah. Perhaps you could build a list of 200 to 300 names. This is where it might start to feel a bit difficult because, as I said, although it's a very simple task, it's something that we've probably not been asked to do before, right? So let me ask you a question. Imagine if you're going to be holding a big party, a big celebration, perhaps a wedding reception, something like that. And you're thinking of all the people that you want to be there to share that fantastic time with you, to help you celebrate. Would the problem be you couldn't think of enough names to write down? Or would the problem be who could you possibly scratch off and leave out because you don't have enough room in the venue? Which would it be? You see, that's the kind of thinking you need to adopt when you're emptying all the names that are in your head. So maybe you've heard it said before how fortunate we are to have a business building model to plug into. If you like, a blueprint for success. Our sponsoring cycle seen here, is highly, highly successful all around the world in more than 150 countries now. And what it does, it allows ordinary people like me, like you, to access an extraordinary life. But you can see it all starts with a database of people who you know or who know you. And that is why it's important to write everybody down. And what I found is sometimes one name leads to another. Let me give you an example of that. Say, for example, you're thinking of all the people that you know, and you think of perhaps, I don't know, some aging relatives. Uncle Sid, Auntie Betty, and you think, oh, no, I won't write them down. Write them down. This is why, because in doing that, you just might think of the mobile hairdresser that visits every week. You just might think of the friendly neighbour next door, John, who's just been made redundant. Do you see why it's important to write everybody down? It's amazing when you start doing that. It's almost like the filing cabinets in your mind opening up. So, how do we start? I hope that everyone has seen one of these, which is our fantastic Teach to Reach planning tool. Now, once you've sat down and you've written down all the names that you can think of off the top of your head, maybe you've looked into your mobile phone contact list. There's usually a few hundred in there. Maybe you have a Christmas card list, something like that. In the back of this document is a fantastic tool. It's a memory jogger. And what that is, it's 2 pages of prompts, if you like, and this will really get you thinking. You're going to be able to think of people that you thought you'd forgotten. It's going to prompt you to think of your parents' friends, people you went to school with, college friends, maybe some people that you used to work with, any therapists that you've ever come into contact with. So this is going to really, really help you. Another couple of ways to make sure your list is always growing is to carry a small notebook around. This is for those times when you just think of people randomly. Do you know we have over 3,000 different thoughts each day in our head? Some of those thoughts are people that we thought we'd forgotten, and something happens, or we go somewhere and we get reminded of that person. If you've got that book with you, you're going to be able to collect that name. Or maybe you're out and about and you meet someone, but there's no time to chat. Write their name down, get back to them, put them on your list. And always, always exchange business cards, pick up flyers, leaflets, that kind of thing. And that way, you're always going to ensure that you never, ever run out of people to talk to. Okay, there's also another great tool that we can use, and I think this is a brilliant way to help new people think of more people to contact. And I'd like to have a go at that right now. So grab a pen and paper. This is an acronym, called STEAM, S-T-E-A-M. And let's run through this. I'll run you through this. You may well have seen it before, but let's do the exercise because there's a prize involved. And what do we say in Forever? Go for every prize. So I'm going to be giving away this fantastic book to the person who gets the most new names down. So the S stands for sales. Who do you know who works in sales? Who do you know that would be good at sales? We're not saying you need to be a salesperson, but good communicators, etc. Who do you know who used to work in sales? Who do you know who has sold you something recently? Maybe you've bought a new car, TV, bed, whatever it might be, and you've had great service. That person stood out to you. Definitely put them on your list. Now, the T is quite interesting. The T is for teaching. Teachers are fantastic in our business. In fact, I'm going to ask a question. Are there any teachers, or should I say ex-teachers, in the room today? Anyone? Okay, a very good number. Welcome. We love you. Think of all the teachers you possibly can. If you can, who used to teach you? And if you've got children, who teaches your children? Okay, that's school. What about college? Do you know anyone who's a college or university tutor? And what about trainers? Do you know any kind of trainer? The obvious one being a personal trainer, fitness trainer, but what about business trainers, coaches? Maybe you belong to a club, or your kids or someone you know belongs to a local club. What about the person who runs that place, the trainer there? Write them down. Fantastic communicators once again. And the E is for enthusiasm. We all know people, don't we, who are enthusiastic, just generally. Now, these people are great people to work with. Maybe they're enthusiastic about a hobby or a sport. It doesn't matter what they're enthusiastic about. It's a fantastic characteristic to have. Who's getting some names down? Yeah, great book on offer. The A is for attitude. Do you know someone who just has the most amazing attitude? Do you? I know a couple of people like that. Definitely write their names down. And the M, of course, stands for money, but not always those who need money, although more and more we are finding that there's too much month left at the money, aren't we? Bob's told us lots about that this morning already. So what about people who like money? Do you know anyone who likes money, wants more money, likes the finer things in life? These people, again, make great prospects. These are usually people that we have a lot of admiration and respect for. Would you agree? And quite often it can feel quite scary to pick up the phone to these people, and you can put these people on what we call your chicken list. But I can tell you, I heard someone talking about a chicken list in the ladies' room this morning, but unfortunately I wasn't quick enough to speak to the person who was talking about chicken list. But what you will find is, very often, your best team members come from that chicken list. So now you have your list. Now what? Well, now's the time to put some discipline in. And if I wanted that lifestyle that I talked about when I was new, I was told that I'd need to learn how to start working through the list and select a set number of contacts to make each and every week. Now, for me, at that time, with 2 pre-nursery toddlers, I had very few hours each week back then. But being encouraged to be consistent and inviting, and in my case, I chose 15 contacts each week. And that is what got me to the all-important manager position in a matter of months, because the person who was coaching me said, that's great, 15 each week. This week, yeah, I can do that. Andy, thank you. He said, can you do that next week and the week after? And I thought, can you do those 15 contacts consistently until you've reached that first milestone of the manager position? And that's what I committed to. If you have more time, do more. All right, so who got some names down? Who thinks they got loads and loads and loads of names down? Tell me the number. Play the game. Okay, did anyone get any names down? How many? 13. Anyone get more than 13? Okay, how many? 40. Did someone say 48? 28. More than 28? 39? 33. Anyone more than 33? 34. Anyone more than 34? It's like an auction. How many? 50? In those few minutes? Anyone more than 50? 52. Anyone more than 52? I think we have a winner, 52. Would you like to come and collect your prize? This is 52 names, wow. Would you like to come collect your prize? In just a few minutes, 52 names written down. Can you use that tool when you're coaching your new people? I think so. Welcome. What's your name? Emma. Do you mind telling us how long you've been in the business for, Emma? Would you mind?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks in the business. And what do you do?
As a main job. A bit of everything.
Oh, okay. Just 2 weeks in the business. Big round of applause. Thank you, Emma. Richard McCann's book, I Can. It's a great book. Well done. So the book, I'm going to be buying this immediately. This is I think it's the second book. I've read the first book by a guy called Richard McCann. The first book is his life story, and I could not put it down. So I can't wait to read that second book, which of course is available from Barry the Book. Well done, Emma. Okay, now I'm going to ask a very special person to come on stage. This lady is an absolute privilege to work with. And what you should know is that she has really mastered the key skills of building a forever business. And she's going to share with you what happens when you don't learn and follow the basics in starting the business cycle, and what happens when you do follow the basics. She's now in a position of freedom with a very, very exciting future ahead of her. Please welcome to the stage, Mandy McDade. Good girl. Sorry. It's on. It's on.
Wow, what a lot of people. This is a bit different from the sizzle. My name's Mandy McDade, and I had a very sceptical background. So if anybody was sceptical, I was a police officer, and I had been a police officer for about 11 years. And I had got really tired of being told what to do, when to do it, and with whom. And I just thought, I can't do this for much longer. So when I came and had a look at Forever, I actually didn't get it. I didn't get it. All I got was the fact that I had found something possibly where I could do what I wanted, when I wanted, and with whom. So I was quite excited about that. And I thought £199 and six-figure income, bit of a no-brainer. So I was in. That was it. I was in. Didn't really know what I was doing, and my dilemma was that I was shown a few things. I was told to write this list that you heard Alison talk about earlier. And I thought, well, list. Do you know what? I only know 20 people. I was in my 40s, I have to say. I only know 20 people. So what do I want to write a list for? Because, has anybody got one of these? Anybody got one of those? Yeah. I thought it's all in my phone. Do I need to write a list? No, it's all in my phone. So that was the first thing I thought. And thank you. And my second dilemma was knowing only 20 people. Let me just share with you some of the things that I'd done since I'd left school. I'd worked in a couple of pubs. I worked in a kebab van for 6 months. That was great fun. And I'd worked in 5 hospitals when I was training to be a student, because I trained to be a radiographer, because I was a radiographer for a while as well. I also went into medical recruitment. So I did recruitment where I worked with teachers. And I also worked with construction workers and medical people, so I only knew 20 people. And then I joined the police, and I worked on the crime squad, the murder unit, the CSU, the community safety unit, domestic violence unit, but I only knew 20 people. That's what I'd decided. I know. And 10 of those were coppers, and there was no way I was going to talk to coppers, because I knew, without even asking, that they would think this was some sort of dodgy pyramid scheme, or I'd joined some sort of cult. And I'd worked really hard to get my reputation as a police officer, and I didn't want to lose it. And they were my peers, you know what I mean? So, and I have to be honest, when I first started, I actually kind of wasn't sure I hadn't joined some sort of cult. But, I know it's not now, if Jane's around. I know it's not, obviously. I knew it wasn't, it couldn't be, but I kind of wasn't sure. And all I knew was if it was a cult, it was a really good one. And it was a lot better than the one that I was in, which was a police officer. And it could earn me a lot more money, of course. So I had 10 people left. Now, I also got quite excited because I'd seen on the marketing plan that I only needed to find 2 people. I know, yeah. And we'd all get excited together because I was really good at being excited. I think anybody who knows me knows I can get enthusiastic about anything except spreadsheets. And so I thought, I wasn't totally stupid. I knew I had to speak to more than 2 people to find 2 people. So out of my 10, I thought, I won't put all my eggs in one basket. I'll speak to 5. So I got really enthusiastic with 5 people and, amazingly, 1 joined. She got enthusiastic, nothing happened. We all got excited together and nothing happened and, it was just one big bundle of excitement and we didn't go anywhere. So what do you think happened then? Anybody got any ideas? Yeah. Well, actually, what happened then was I went to this amazing place called Planet Combi. Anybody ever been and come back from Planet Combi? I just want to say there is life in Planet Combi. If you're not really sure what that is, just ask the person who's invited you. But Planet Combi, for me, consisted of a postgraduate degree in ultrasound. After 2.5, 3 years more of study, my income went up I got my first paycheck, and it was £30 more per month. And I'd held on to the box. I didn't let go of the box because that meant letting go of my dreams. So I came back to Forever and I knuckled down. I changed my thinking. I went on a massive journey, and still am, a massive journey of personal development. I became a student. I followed the system. I listened to what I was being shown, and I then put it into practice. I wrote my Who Do I Know list, and it was a lot more than 20 people. And I wrote it because I didn't want to forget a single name. And in fact, I always say to my team are over there probably laughing at me because I'm the biggest advocate of the system now, and they're probably thinking, what is she on about? But if my house burnt down, I'd take obviously the animals and the tortoise, but I would also take my Who Do I Know list. I think that would go first because it's that important to me. So when I came back and followed the system and wrote my list and started working my list, I obviously was still enthusiastic, but I put the word work next to the word enthusiasm. And, this is a business, as you heard from Bob earlier, building your build belief in yourself, in the product, in the company. But I also think you've got to have belief in the system, and you just got to have belief. It works, and you just got to do it. I worked with that list. I got better and better by doing, and I've sacked the boss. I don't have to work for anybody else ever again, and so I just have to pinch myself that I don't have to work for anybody else ever again, because gradually working my list, this is what happened. I'm just going to show you my very first list, which I still got. It's like a bit of history in my life. I don't know if you can see on there. This was my list, and the pink lines on there are the people that joined and became assistant supervisors in my business. That was the first page. And that was the second page. So my business started moving by doing as I was shown. And, sorry, I just grabbed mine. So doing as I was shown. And I really would say to you, I had to say to myself, do I want this thing to work for me? So I would say, ask yourself, who wants this thing to work for them, if they're brand new? Great, is that every hand in the room? Okay, so then you just got to ask yourself the other question, am I prepared to work this thing? Are you prepared to work this thing? So you just got to do exactly as you're shown, and fear stops people. Don't let fear stop you. Fear keeps people small, and that's what it did to me. Fear kept me small. And like I say, I can get enthusiastic about anything. So before I get over-enthusiastic, I'm going to hand you back to the amazing Alison Woodley, who's shown me so much about how to build my business.
Well done, Mandy.
I'm glad Mandy made you laugh. She makes me laugh on a daily basis. She sent me an email on Wednesday saying, I'm just sending you this email because it's the very last one I'm ever going to send from an employee system. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Okay, so with over 12 years in the business now, I'm actually more excited about the next 12 years. And just as we've heard already this morning, there has never been a better time to talk to people. There's never been a better time to talk to people about what's going on for them, what's important to them, for them. So, was it worth creating the list? This is my life. My life is full of fun, excitement, great experiences. Achievements, there's profit share earlier on this year, one of many checks I've been fortunate enough to have over the last few years. And then celebrating Julie's success, actually, Julie and Keith's success as Eagle managers there. And you know what, I didn't know Julie, but I had a friend who was on my list, who had a friend who happens to be the daughter of Julie. Now do you see why it's so important to write everybody down? And there's the beautiful Alcomhurst Hufflepuff, otherwise known, bred by my sister. This is Buffy. This just depicts really being able to enjoy good times and amazing travel. If you like travel, my goodness, is it worth building a business with forever? Because you'll have the time, you'll have the money to enjoy. This is Havana in Cuba. That was the start of an amazing trip to Cuba. And Abu Dhabi earlier on this year. These are all just very recent, actually. And of course, that's Cairo. Thankfully, we were able to get there just before the troubles started. So was it worth it? My goodness, I'd say so. You know, too many people have the ideas, but they don't take the actions. Don't you be one of those people. Get your list down and learn how to start working it. You're going to have a fantastic day with the rest of the lineup. Thank you for listening.